Hey guys, Maewtt here, and today we are doing a video on a tryhard thread by a tryhard named Tryhard Penguin. Basically, it's related to the RP members accepting false reports, so this is why I took particular interest in it. And this is actually still an ongoing thread, still in and become a hot thread, so let's see what this guy has to say. Intro. Hello there. I've made this rant because recently RP members have been publicly humiliated for the mistakes they've made while viewing reports. I really dislike the practice of going out of your day to humiliate someone. I do not tolerate it when people humiliate others. Plus, some really rude people of the community even insult RP members. Anyway, moving on. Why are people so hard on Report Patrol members? Whenever an RP member makes a mistake on a report and accepts a false report, people shame them publicly. Honestly, if I get accepted as a Mindplex trainee, I'm going for report patrols. It's a really underrated subteam, and I have a very big interest in processing reports. But my gosh, people are too hard on report patrol members. Here's an example of someone publicly shaming an RP member. Oh boy, he's gonna have a picture of all my videos. Alright, which one did he pick? Come on, please be the Wanderer, please be the Wanderer. What the? What? No, this isn't mine. What? Why wouldn't you use my example of shaming? I'm like the one who's famous for shaming RP members. I have like tons of good examples of shaming RP members. And you just showed this guy. Yes, Alex Stain only did accept a false report. And so did one of his friends who was also a trainee. Congrats on another something trainee Mindplex. Obviously, it's a bad word. Easy false ban I was recording, but still, I'm the one who humiliated Alex Stain first. Why didn't you show me? Anyways, TLDR. RP get hated on too much on the community, and they've been publicly humiliated. Hopefully you enjoyed my first ever Mindplex rants. More will be coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Honestly, Report Patrol is an underrated sub-team. They work very hard at clearing reports and such. I thank all RP members for continuously working hard. Hashtag clear the reports, hashtag Report Patrol best sub-team, hashtag in before I get called a staff suck-up, which you are. Tryhard Penguin out. Alright, so let me just give a few thoughts on this post. So, first off, nice grammar. I mean, I do no tolerate it. I like the practice of going out of your day. I think you might say going out of your way. I guess the D key is sort of close to the W key. Anyways, I'd also like to say, if you get accepted as a Mindplex trainee and get on the report patrol, if you ever accept a false report, I'm going to have a lot of fun with you, pal. Also, I don't believe people are too hard on their report patrol members most of the time because oftentimes they accept false reports that are pretty obvious. I mean, I've seen them accept one that had like 6 mistakes. I forgot if it was the Pigu or Alex Stain or someone else, but the point is, if you make such a horrible mistake, you'd kind of deserve to be roasted for it. Anyways, let's continuing on and see the thread. So he bumps his thread because no one seems interested in it, but obviously that changes considering he has 21 potatoes on it. Hey there, Fern. Fem. Is that an M or an RN? I can't. Okay, it's an RN. Hey there, Fern. I really agree with you. RP members get way too much hate. I think this is responsible because they are usually the ones who are technically responsible for false bans. However, they try their best to clear out the reports and help Mindplex, and all they get is hate. Well, obviously this thread isn't hate. People have to realize that staff members are humans too, and humans make mistakes. Do you really think that RP member had bad intentions and purposely banned the person falsely? No, they were just trying to help out. Thanks for making this, and I hope a lot of people see it. Yes, I understand the RP is trying to help Mindplex, however, mistakes have consequences. I don't get why no one realizes this. I mean, how would you feel if you were the person who got falsely banned due to an obvious mistake in the report? You'd obviously be pretty upset, and you'd probably think that the RP member deserves to be humiliated. Like, I don't think any of these people who have been saying everyone makes mistakes have ever been falsely reported and see what it's like to be the victim of a mistake. Let's see. I don't think RP has any issues other than the time one guy put a report denied image and accepted the report. That guy's an idiot. I think the real problem is the staff in game that false ban since they do not require proof. And yes, actually is a huge problem because a moderator could just ban whoever they want and say they were hacking just because they are salty that they lost a game of bridges or smash mobs or whatever. Um, Port patrols have some issues like every other team. Sometimes they accept false reports. Sometimes. And they do not know if they are false reports. Also, trainees need proof to warn a mute/ban, but moderators and above don't need evidence to warn a mute/ban, which I believe is wrong. Um, RP has been doing pretty good job, and a few false bans out there out of several thousand are fine. The issue at hand, in my opinion, is that mods have too much power, as they do not need proof to warrant punishments. This makes it hard to create a valid appeal, because it's your word against the staff's. And it's not easy to win that argument. Try not possible unless you were actually recording. You can't reverse the proof used against you, and you probably don't have proof of your own. I went crazily off topic here, lol. Anyways, it's important to note that when a staff denies your report, it's actually less work for them as they won't have to dish out the punishment, technically speaking. They don't really get anything out of banning people. Okay, one problem I have is your fraction here. A few false bans out of several thousand are fine. No, see, that's not how it works. Yes, there are several thousand reports, however, a few false bans out of how many false reports is what you should be talking about. And considering that they almost never detect false reports, I've only seen like one or two of them actually detect a false report that was made, that was actually like helped or made by me. So really, what he should have said is how many false reports have they detected out of how many false reports have been made. How many false reports have been made versus how many non-false reports have been made. Because while they may not be too common, they should be right for them when they appear. I completely agree with this, Fern. However, I do understand the frustration of this. The player being falsely banned are going to be angry, and they do have a reason to be upset, but not outright rude and aggressive. Also, trainees are more likely to make mistakes as they are new. Overall, a very well done thread. You weren't rude, and you made some good points. Alright, so first off, I have to. The only thing I really agree with is this, that the player is going to be upset. Okay, well, think about it this way. While the staff members are 13 and older, that doesn't mean the players on Mindplex are necessarily that age. Think about it. If there's a kid who's like 5 to 10 and they don't really know how to control their emotions at that age, just think about it. Do you really think they're going to control their emotions and not be rude and aggressive? They're only 5 to 10. What would you expect from them? Maturity? Certainly not. Also, trainees are more likely to make mistakes. Well, if they're still going to make mistakes, they shouldn't be on the reports patrol. The reports patrol is not a place to be making mistakes, considering the impact that it has on the players of Mindplex. I don't understand what you were saying. RP has been doing a pretty good job, and a few false. Oh wait. Okay. Well, moderators are deserving of no proof for mute ban. One, it's more convenient. It's pretty hard to get moderator, and you have to get trainee, then go through a 2-month trial without getting mode, then pass your EFT, which you have to study for. Also, moderators don't have too much power. Oh boy, where to go with this? One, it's more convenient. So it's more convenient that moderators can just falsely ban people in game just because it's more convenient for them. And it's hard to get the moderator. I've actually heard people say it's not that hard. I mean, getting trainee is probably the hardest part. Going through a 2-month trial without getting demoted. Considering that people have accepted false reports without getting demoted, how hard is that really? And pass your EOT? I don't think any of us have seen that test, so we can't really judge how hard it actually is. Thank you for agreeing with me. Alright, so even now, new responses are actually being made to this thread, but anyways, let's see. I don't think this thread should be sticky if that's what you're trying to say. Snip, 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 snip. I don't really like looking at these like word post pyramids or whatever you call them. That would be cool if it got pinned. Not really. This is just another try-hard thread. I don't think it should be pinned. I totally agree with this. RP get too much hate. This thread has to be noticed. Well, maybe if they didn't screw up so much, they wouldn't be getting all this hate. Thank you. Honestly, it took me an hour to create this thread. Seriously? There's like barely. I've seen longer rants that have taken an hour. This thread is like only a few paragraphs. This shouldn't have taken an hour to make. I've seen similar threads get pinned, so it's pretty possible. I doubt it. I can definitely agree that publicly humiliating staff is wrong. You really don't know their circumstances. But I'd like it if you had extended the thread further, detailing specific examples and going in depth as to why people actually do this. You could have also expanded on how the mod feels when this happens to them. Conduct interviews, do anything you can to make your thread the highest quality it can be. Keep in mind you are a quality poster. Pretty poster. Try hard. Me and the rest of the community, Mindplex community, have high expectations for you, and I want to see you reach them with future Mindplex rants. Good luck, mate. Alright, well, true, I don't know the RP's circumstances. However, if they're on the RP, no matter what their circumstances are, they should be dedicating their energy to their job. If they're unable to because of real life circumstances, they should maybe take a break or leave the RP. Because, I mean, the RP is not a place to be screwing up in. How many times do I have to say that? Alright. I understand why a player would be frustrated over a false ban, falsely answered report. There are countless amounts of guides, pictures, videos for RP members to look at, such as all my humiliation videos and tutorials. I mean, there's at least 15 of them now. A falsely banned or a falsely answered report is a poor job done. Yes, it is. Considering the amount of help staff receive, especially newly promoted ones. Points you've made in this thread are all valid, and I strongly suggest the part about humiliation, rudeness towards RP. I feel in most cases both sides lack something, whether it be lack of sympathy or a lack of understanding. Hatred towards an RP member for one mistake that any human being could have made is completely unnecessary for me. However, if it becomes a different story when the same mistake is constantly made. Wanderer! In situations where multiple false bans are issued / forged reports are accepted by that same RP member, Wanderer, players become almost entitled to a form of action against the RP member, Wanderer. Sadly, the most popular form of action seems to be a wave of hatred. Of course, the most mature way to go about the situation would be to sort it out in private. This, unfortunately, is not how people like to go about solving things. Inflicting pain on the person who created the problem is a way of countering your frustration. Mistakes are okay, but not when the same one is constantly made. Wanderer. Alright, so, honestly, if you think about it, the Wanderer actually has made multiple mistakes, and so is the Pigu. It's just I never uploaded the second false report the Pigu accepted because he got demoted before I had a chance to upload it. Also, handling it privately may be more mature. However, it doesn't really get anything done. I mean, what's more of a motivation not to screw up? Having you get publicly humiliated and having everyone hate you for a few days? Or just getting talked to and then being able to cover up your mistake from the community? Just think about it like that. I personally think RP does a great job and they don't deserve the hate they get. I mean, sure they make mistakes, but everyone does. People have no right to treat them badly. Once again, mistakes have consequences. Think about how the falsely banned player feels. Yes, I do believe our RP members are getting beaten for their mistake. It's not fair that they try and keep our servers safe and then they get trashed. Well, if they end up hurting someone over an obvious mistake, it kind of deserves something. What, you think they deserve to get off scot-free? No, that's not how it works. I've never had any problems with them. They do their job fine, and if they make a mistake, well, most of them are learning. If you're still going to make mistakes, don't be on the reports patrol, because again, it's not a place to screw up, because it actually has a negative impact on the community and someone important. Back on topic though, I honestly, if you want to make a false report just to bash on the staff, why even do it? You're wasting your own time making a false report while taking people's time to get it answered. And to all those falsely banned, maybe the staff are having visual errors or lag or something. There are many reasons why these things happen. Alright, so this section is to people who got falsely banned by staff in game. I'm going to talk about though this part. All right, the reason I make false reports is to help the report patrol identify them because, like, I'm pretty much the only one who false reports staff besides the people who send me videos to who false reports to help the staff. There are plenty of people out there, believe it or not, who actually false report people just so that they get banned, and because of how, and basically they get them banned and they have little hope of an appeal because of how good their false report is. Keep in mind, not every false report that gets accepted gets a humiliation video done on it. I'm just saying that name definitely fits you. This was meant as an insult. Oh, I think he's referring to Tryhard Penguin. And yeah, I kind of have to agree with you, NES Zapper, on that. I mean, this is obviously a tryhard thread. He's probably, I mean, for all we know, he's probably just sucking up to try and get trainee or reports patrol. I mean, that's just my thoughts. Thank you for your suggestions. I'll definitely be putting them in soon. This is my first ever rant thread, and the playing was pretty bad on my opinion. Thanks for the support and long posts. Honestly, I couldn't explain more how much you added. Yup. Lol, thanks, I guess. If it was intended as a did you even read the end of his post? This was meant as an insult. Learn to read, my gosh. Seriously? Oh my gosh. I agree with you. I agree with you in this stupid font that is barely legible and unnecessary. Thanks, it means a lot in the legible font that everyone should be using. How do you like the font? I don't. It's pretty neat, but kind of unreadable on behalf of my opinion. Because I thought it was easier to read. If it's not for you. It's okay, bolded colored text is much harder to read. I actually made that on a website and uploaded to Imagen and copy and pasted using the BB code. Good for you. Can you give me a link to the website? Okay, we're getting off topic here. No, please don't give me the link to the website. I want to see more of these. You know how hard it is to read? Oh, okay, it's not too hard, but it's still annoying. And he gives him the link. Okay, the text looks pretty neat. No, it doesn't. Oh, hey, it's Tompers, one of the guys who accepted a false report. Let's see what he has to say. So this has to deal with me. So I guess I should comment. Wink. As a member on RP, I won't say how many I've done, as that is irrelevant. I've been on the RP for 2 months. Over that time, I accepted a false report, but that didn't stop me. People don't realize how hard this team works to get rid of a report. An RP member worked out that about every 66 seconds, a report comes in. 1 a minute. So by the time I finished this reply, we would have gotten 2/3 of a report. So it only took him 40 seconds. I love doing reports, but I can't do them all every day. I have friends that want to play, and I'm on other teams. We do get hate, but we all do. I personally try as hard as I can to do as many as I can, so I completely agree with this thread. It was well put together and overall well done. Okay. Here's the reason why you accepted a false report and why most RP members do accept false reports. I do as many as I can. If you focus more on the quantity of reports you're doing rather than the quality of how you do them, this is how false reports get accepted. And he's just agreeing with this thread because he's using it as a shield from humiliation. Yep, report patrol is pretty underrated considering how many reports they have to process. Also, thank you for complimenting my thread. It's my first ever rant thread and was pretty unplanned, but I did it alright. You're not very good at debating. I'd like to point out that Lex got false banned in-game because he was hacking, and I was there to witness it. Anyways, yes, the job is hard for RP. They do have a weekly quota of 70 to 80 reports a week, which really isn't that much when I mean, if they spend a minute on each report, and not only would a minute is plenty of time to look at the screenshot and make sure there's no false evidence, and 70 to 80 a week, that's only like an hour and a half tops per week. Is that really that much? And are forced to make sure which reports are false and which are not. However, the ones that are publicly humiliated are only done because there were intentional mistakes that could have been spotted. Thank you! Maewtt. Oh, hey, look, someone finally mentions me. I was only 4 pages into the freaking thread. Anyways, Maywett's most recent video had the most notable mistake of bridges in not being bold, not to mention the lie. I thought my most recent humiliation video was in death tag. But whatever. Maewott's most recent video had the most notable mistake of bridges in not being in bold, which is actually the most common mistake on false reports. Not to mention the lack of games shown in the picture. RP is hardly overrated, with over 100 members in it and a bunch of new applicants every time they open. RP is fine. You always have people who publicly humiliate staff, but it's not like this thread will stop them. Just reading a thread that says, "Oh no, RP gets humiliated too much," frown, 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 won't stop anyone from humiliating them. Really though, false reports are only false if you could see mistakes in them. People like Maewtt intentionally leave mistakes in the evidence so they can report later. Otherwise, it would be impossible to tell. And yeah, I do make mistakes in my false reports. Small mistakes, but because of my videos and the fact that people who make false reports watch my videos and get help from me, small mistakes are the only mistakes that are going to be in a false report most of the time. Stop spraying poison on the forums in reference to that stupid link. Thank you, Steel Samurai. By the way, I actually am a fan of the Ace Attorney games, and I like the reference. What do you mean by poison? Using illegible font for post boosting. I have many friends with vision problems who have a hard time reading these. While Lex still humiliated the staff member who banned him, which was an RP member, I meant underrated, not overrated. I'm not trying to stop people from humiliating RP, I'm just bringing awareness. If you have read more closely, you could see I didn't bring a solution. That's the point of the rant. Honestly, at least try and come up with a solution if you're gonna like complain about something like I do, rather than just sit there complaining about the RP. I'm actually doing something to try and fix them. I don't find it illegible. That's a really subjective statement. It's messy. Yeah, it's legible, but it's pretty messy and annoying. Let's see. Rants, politically correct ones, on the forums, are useless on the forums. They provide no solution, just awareness, which doesn't really do squat as everyone knows it already. These types of threads are the worst, in my opinion. Oh, I like his quote. Better to keep your mouth shut and let people wonder if you are a fool, than to open it and remove all doubt. Well, if you dislike my thread, then why are you replying on here? That's very hypocritical. Also, I was explaining that to you. I understand people have opinions. He's replying on here because he wants to provide a point counter to what you're trying to say. People post on threads they don't agree with all the time. When I did my threads bragging about team killing, people who hated me were posting on them. Anyways, in what way is it hypocritical? Must I love a thread to post on it? Oh, so he pretty much says the same thing I said. Not to mention, the only reason I posted was to stop that squiggly font kid. It's a pretty good name. It's rude to call leather a squiggly font kid. Also, you can post on thread if you dislike it. Just saying, why post on a thread if you think it's trash? Why is it rude? It's not like I called him a mindless pretty poster QP tryhard, which, let's face it, that's probably what he was trying to be, or anything like that. I'm posting on it because I saw some people who shall not be named on it discussing illegible fonts. Also to tell the OP that rant threads are not healthy. Now let me ask you again, in what way is it hypocritical? Yes, sadly it is true. RP are humans, make mistakes, blah blah blah. Well, if you made a mistake, what would people say? Okay. Once again, mistakes have consequences, and how would you feel if you were the person who got falsely banned? Not gonna argue anymore. I'm not in the mood anyway. Nice back out. Thought so. That's just a nice way to sound edgy. They get so harshly criticized and humiliated because some reports are obviously false but still get accepted. Yeah, pretty much. That's just a nice way to sound demolished, destroyed, wrecked, annihilated, dead, whatevs. Well, I didn't come here looking for an argument/debate. Really? When you post a rant, you have to expect people to disagree with you, and you have to be prepared to debate with them. If you didn't come here looking for an argument/debate, you probably shouldn't have made this thread. Not really a rant. Rants are longer, as stated before. Plus, your TLDR is about the same size as your actual post. My on topic, really. To be honest, some of them deserve it, but definitely not all of them. And I suppose there is some argument for that. Like, if there's only one really tiny mistake, then there is some argument. But, yeah, there are some who did deserve to be humiliated because the mistakes were so obvious. So, nice grammar, Mr. QP. Thanks. Penguin. When you post a thread, you should expect feedback or disagreement. Thank you, Lioness Lily. Yeah, that's you. Not everyone is going to say, great thread, and leave. Some people will disagree with you. Singyu, oh, so that's who Steel Samurai is replying to say that he disagrees and doesn't like the thread. Are you saying that people shouldn't reply on threads they don't like? That would make for a boring, one-sided community. Yes, it would. Replying to this thread and disagreeing is not hypocritical. I don't even know why you use that word. Seriously, you should expect people to disagree and want to argue, and you should be able to argue back or admit that you are wrong. If you do neither, it looks like you are too stubborn to admit the other person has won the argument. Singularity is not being edgy. He is giving you some feedback, nothing too bad. Debates are what the forums are for. Don't act like you'll never get into one. Chill. Okay, seems like I've stepped on the wrong foot. I did expect feedback and disagreement. I've had multiple threads where people have disagreed with my opinion. Using the word hypocritical was a mistake on my part. Also, I'm not intending to be stubborn. I dislike it when I lose an argument, like most people do. That's another mistake on my part, using the word. The forums aren't mostly for debate. Some RP will miss one mistake and that's fine. They are human. The only RP members that should be humiliated are the 2+ mistakes, or a huge mistake. Wanderer. Here's the problem about RP. Nobody follows the rule, check closely at reports with a player with one post. And the rule, the screenshot should show some of the map, not just like a mine, to be accepted. Another problem is that barely any of them know champions. Well, if you don't follow the rules, whose fault is it? I mean, seriously. If they don't follow the rules, they deserve to be humiliated for it, honestly. As for barely knowing champions, if you don't know much of a game, actually play the game yourself or talk to someone who does know the game. Honestly. I find them to do their jobs really well. False bans, that's an easy fix. Dissect the proof for forged evidence, or check the logs for fake chat violation reports. If someone gets wrongfully banned, they can be unbanned just as fast as he got banned. Mistakes happen. Not necessarily. I mean, first off, they have to appeal. Not everyone has an engine account. Keep that in mind. And if you're forum banned, you can't appeal. Also, if you don't appeal in a mature manner, then they're probably not going to take your appeal seriously, as Wonder has said before. And keep in mind that if you're 5 to 10, how mature would you expect a 5 to 10-year-old who's been falsely banned from their favorite server to be? Just some thoughts. Anyways, in this case, it really depends. First off, trainees should not be on the reports patrol at all. The name changes from helper to trainee was changed directly because they were still in training and they may make more mistakes. So why would you trust a trainee, someone who is still in training, to become a staff member with a huge responsibility such as processing reports? To become this, I could sort of understand if a trainee accepts a forged report with something very minor in it, but if they accept a report with an extremely obvious false report, they deserve to be humiliated too. But mods accept false reports less often because they've been trained to spot forged reports. I say less often because they still do it sometimes. That's why only them should be on the reports patrol. Also, a lot of staff disregard the rules saying if the report is obscure, deny it. What they mean by obscure is if someone is spamming, they report the spamming, but he took a screenshot, the report is just looking down at grass, it would be denied automatically. But apparently some trainees and even a couple mods just forget this rule. Also, you can't write a thread like this without mentioning Maewtt. Thank you! Thank you, Decisive Wolf! Thank you! Oh, look, he even has a screenshot of one, he even has like one of my YouTube videos in there. Staff members have said the report patrol has improved ever since he started humiliating them, so the humiliation has only technically helped. Thank you! Here's an example of a forged report I can kind of understand getting accepted by a trainee. Oh, this is the UHC one that only had one small mistake in it. Here's an example of a forged report that had major mistakes in them, and got accepted by a trainee who deserves all the hate directed toward them. Coincidentally, he was accepted by Alex Stain, the same staff member in the screenshot who denied the real report. Oh, so it was Alex Stain who accepted that obvious report. I kind of forget who accepts, what sometimes because of how many there are. Conclusion. Take trains off the report patrol. Staff members deserve all humiliation directed towards them if they accept forged reports with major mistakes in them. Honestly, dude, you have officially become like my favorite person on the forums, Decisive Wolf. And yeah, it was a minor mistake, so you could make some argument for the Joe P. Cool one. But Alex Stain, there's no defending him because of how many mistakes were in that report. You could just watch the video if you want to see them all and read the comments because there are some I missed because there are too many to count. But yeah, I mean, as for taking trains off the reports patrol, some people are saying that there won't be enough staff to be on the report patrol, and so there is that argument. However, I'd say like if a train is still making mistakes, like only like trains who are close to becoming mods and who haven't made too many mistakes should be allowed on the report patrol. But these are just my thoughts. Anyways. In some, honestly, most people who get banned think they're innocent, but the staff are in the wrong for banning them. Maybe it's just me, but I haven't witnessed enough of these to say whether it's a real problem. I need more instances where this has happened to make a decision. However, from the screenshot you showed, it's definitely wrong. Trainees like us all make mistakes. That being said, if a trainee were to consistently make mistakes, then that's where they'd get demoted. Shaming is never the right thing to do. Instead, pointing out the mistake politely is to a staff member, preferably in private, as not to draw unwanted attention. For any future rants, Tryhard Penguin, you should write a little more. Thank you. This is just my opinion, because it seemed like this one there wasn't enough evidence for me to make a decision. Have a nice day, and nice thread. Thank you. In fact, as Decisive Wolf showed on the last page, the false report that Alex Stain accepted was pretty obvious, and he kind of deserved the hate he got for it, let's face it. Oh, hey. A staff member who made a long post. Let's read it. Okay, I feel as though I need to clarify a few things here. I'm not causing any drama, I just kind of want to share my side to a couple of the comments made. First of all, within the year and a half I've been on Mindlegs, I haven't played any Dom, maybe like 2 or 3 games. Because of this, I'm not particularly familiar with the good players in Dom, and so was unaware that Lex was well known in the community for playing Dom so well. As stated, I did ban him in-game. I was told by both another staff member and a player in game of the server, and the names of the potential hackers. I admit to saying goodbye Lex was a little unprofessional on my behalf, so now I will no longer be writing anything like that before I punish a player. Okay, I don't know the situation behind this, so I'm just reading what she's saying. Secondly, as moderator, I make sure I'm 100% positive of players using clients before I punish. I joined the game and Lex was in and spectated him. But to be exceptionally sure, I watched his other game. From experience, Kill Aura is very well recognized through the head snaps depicted in the evidence. In this case, me watching him in game. From what I could see, his head was going crazy and snapping to so many people at once, whilst his fighting, it didn't look physically possible. However, I made a mistake. People make mistakes, and mistakes have consequences. This was my first false ban. Oh, so there's more! I'm realizing how horrible the public ridicule is. It seriously has to stop, not only for me, but others that experience it. I think the problem is that staff in-game with false bans, since they do not require proof. As I say, because of this, we have to ensure we are 100% positive the player is hacking, or that the offense is severe enough to require punishment. I made sure to watch him closely, and from experience, he showed all the right signs. I will be extra careful from now on. Will probably keep my distance from Dom for a while. Good idea. The reason the majority of reports get denied is to avoid accepting forgeries. This is what people fail to notice. We do not accept cropped evidence. We do not accept anything in F1. We do not accept anything with a small amount of the environment shown. I think my videos are a clear contradiction of that last one. I think you should have said we are not supposed to accept anything with a small amount of the environment shown. These are all known by the public, so I'm not revealing anything there. All of the reasons are to avoid forgeries. On top of that, we do not deny reports because it's less effort that way. For the most part, reports like accusation or ghosting get denied because the offense is only committed once, which is actually why one of my false reports got denied, because I only made them say it once. As a report, chat punishments jump straight to a mute and don't require a warning. We have to be lenient with the offense. That means the evidence requires multiple instances before it gets accepted. However, point well made. I would completely understand if a player were upset about it. I would feel bad and try and help the player through his appeal. However, while you're publicly shamed and ridiculed, sent a whole bunch of messages from various people. It hurts a lot. Aw, my feelings are hurt. Well, I mean, I kind of said the same thing too about not being mentioned, but I was just kidding, you know? I mean, that was obviously a joke. I appreciate your post in full, but I wanted to pick up on this comment. Right now, we have around 50 pages of unanswered reports. On each page of 50 reports, on each page are 50 reports. 50 times 50. Seriously, you can't do that math? Unbelievable. For those of you wondering what it is, it's 2,500. To me, it seems plausible to waste your time making a false report anyway. But if one slips through all those reports and it's a perfect forge, which none of the reports I've featured are, then it's hardly fair to ridicule a member of RP for it. We inspect images extremely hard to ensure we're not accepting a forged report. If one shows no possible sign of forgery, then it's really harsh to laugh at the staff member, really. Except all the reports I've humiliated staff for did have mistakes in them. Overall, I just want to say this genuinely affected me quite deeply. I'm not the type of person who can just shrug things like these off. Well, then don't be a staff member! I mean, it's kind of obvious that staff members on the server get a ton of hate. If you're not the person who's able to shrug off hate, you shouldn't be a staff member on this server. However, it's definitely given me a lot more motivation to look for the smallest details in everything I do. Some people are affected badly by these issues, that they even choose to resign, babies, either from RP or the staff team in general. Whilst I'm not going to do that, I was very emotional last night, and the thought crossed my mind. Someone called a wambulance. We're not going to change people's opinion or actions with this thread, probably. However, it would be nice to know that people understand we are humans and humans make mistakes. And it'd be nice if you understood that mistakes have consequences. Why does no one here understand that? Like someone mentioned, no punishment is not easily revoked. In addition, people seem to enjoy humiliating others. That would never interest me personally, but I just hope people can understand how much it actually hurts when it's directed towards you. If that encourages more hate, then I'll deal with it. Well, you just said above that you're not the type of person who can just shrug these things off, so will you really deal with it? I mean, so let's go over her post, because it was kind of long, so I just want to give some more thoughts on it. If you don't know a game, you probably should get a second opinion on a report that comes through it, just because. Also, this is why mods should record their evidence. I mean, how hard is it just to pull a Bandicam and record if you have the time to like stalk them for an entire game? It only takes a few seconds to pull a Bandicam and hit the record button. Ban them, then load your evidence, and then use it so that they have something they could base their appeal off of. If you had done this, then none of this probably would have happened. Let's see. Also, if you can't handle hate, don't join the staff team. It's pretty known knowledge that the staff get hated on the server. So if you're not able to deal with hate, you shouldn't be on the staff team. You shouldn't be on the report patrol, and you definitely shouldn't be making mistakes. This isn't much of a rant. Yeah, I know. I'd say this person has more of a rant than... Like, this post is longer than the main post, and I'd say this one's more of a rant, actually. Anyways, you state the problem. You showed a picture of a person shaming an RP member. I wouldn't... No. That's not a picture. That's just insulting. I wouldn't call that shaming them too much. And went on about the problem a little more. In my opinion, this isn't a proper rant. Maybe a baby rant. Agreed. Agreed in more ways than one, I should say. If you want to get more people to listen to your rants, I suggest writing a little more in your rants, like a paragraph or so. I'd say more than that, in my opinion. Look at Intergalactic JC's rants. Those are good rants. I say he should have quality poster, in my opinion, because his rants are actually really good. Anyway, RP members aren't actually that hated. Like, there might be that salty noob complaining on the forums, but he'll get a bunch of robot responses telling him to appeal. So it's okay. Believe it or not, shaming someone on your wall is not publicly shaming. Technically. Well, I guess it's not as bad as putting it on the forums, but still, your wall is a public thing. That picture was on someone's wall. Only his friends get the notification. There isn't a problem with shaming someone on your wall, but posting on the forums about is another thing, especially if it's bashing the staff member. But if someone posting about a corrupt staff member you should avoid with proof, that would be okay with me. Plus, you've only given us one picture of this shaming, so if you want more people to listen to your rant, maybe gather more photo evidence of someone shaming a staff member on your forums. Not just one banned user sharing something on the wall. Next time, remember, publicly does not equal privately. With love, Numcake. Yeah, he had a ton of examples of shaming evidence. He could have just gone to my channel and found 15 videos he could have used in this forum, but he didn't use any of them. What the heck? This is my first ever rant thread, and I have to admit, this isn't very detailed. Also, Maewtt is making a video about my thread. Anyways, it is still technically publicly shaming if you're shaming someone in public, which Shady and Lutz have done. It doesn't matter how many engine friends they have. Alright, let's see this last comment. Actually, technically, it isn't public shaming. To be seen by other people in public. If they're doing it on their walls, not every person on Mineplex will see his post, especially a banned user that 90% of the people here don't know exists. Oh, sweet, 10% of Mineplex knows I exist? That's awesome. I mean, there's like, let's see, 30,000 divided by 3,000 people know I exist. Amazing. In all seriousness, though, if you're a popular enough user, posting on your wall is just as good as posting it on the forums. Like Intergalactic JC, with all his friends, posting something on his wall is just as good as posting it on the forums because of how many friends he has and how many people will see it. So I'd say it is pretty close to public, but we're getting off topic here. So anyways, these are my thoughts on this thread. Tell me what you think about below, and I'll have a link to it in the description. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe.